When I recovered the map of Khmer's couriers back in Egypt, I thought it was just another dead-end relic. A curiosity. Something dusty scholars would argue about for decades before dismissing it as a forgery. But one symbol kept following me. A serpent swallowing a jade sun. It appeared in places it shouldn't have existed. On trade carvings from Nubia, on the spine of a merchant ledger found in Alexandria, even faintly scratched onto the handle of a broken incense burner in a Cairo bazaar. So I traced it, across old caravan routes, through forgotten shipping manifests, into stories merchants swore were just myths told around the fire. And all of it, every line, every point, every whispered hint, led me here, to Angkor Thom, to a chamber no one remembers, to a labyrinth no one has survived. I arrived in Cambodia under a sky the color of molten copper, thick with the scent of wet soil and distant monsoon clouds. The Angkor complex didn't just rise from the jungle, it loomed. The carved towers of the Bayon stared down with their serene stone faces, half swallowed by strangling fig roots thick as ancient serpents. The jungle hummed in every direction, vibrating with cicadas, hidden birds, and the crack of branches shifting under unseen claws. Even from a distance, I felt it. The pressure, the weight, the ancient presence watching from somewhere beneath the roots. It was the same sensation I had felt in abandoned tombs in Egypt, in desert fortresses buried beneath dunes. But here, it felt alive. I met with my local guide, Dara, a quiet man with eyes like dark glass. He spoke little until we reached a mound of collapsed stones wrapped in vines at the northern edge of Angkor Thom. Only then did he finally speak. He told me his grandfather had once seen strange green light flickering beneath the ruins during the rainy season, light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Most outsiders dismissed it as swamp gas or reflections off floodwater, but Dara whispered a name I hadn't heard before. A name he said with fear. Priya Veng Clock. He explained that beneath the terrace of the Leper King lay a hidden chamber, a forbidden sanctuary said to hold the treasury of an exiled Khmer prince, Chandra Varman, a man erased from history sometime in the 13th century. No stone inscription mentioned him, no royal chronicle recorded his lineage. Yet stories survived in the shadows, stories of a prince condemned for knowing something he should not have known. And when Dara pointed to the exact location said to hide the Jade Labyrinth, it matched the mark on the map of Khmer's couriers perfectly. I felt my blood run cold. So we began our descent. The camera is strapped to my chest now. The world squeezes into a narrow, trembling frame as mossy stone steps spiral downward. Every surface glistens with moisture, like the walls are sweating. My boots echo against smoothed stone. The air is stale, heavy, untouched by wind for centuries. When I push aside a curtain of tangled roots, an archway emerges, carved with apsaras dancing gracefully. Time has softened their forms, but their hollow eyes still stare into the darkness with unsettling intent. A faint draft brushes my face. Cool, metallic, wrong. That was the moment I knew. This place wasn't just old, I whispered to myself. It was sealed with intention. Inside, the temperature drops sharply. The stone beneath my boots shifts in texture, from rough temple rock to smooth, polished slabs. Someone tended these halls long after Angkor fell. Someone cared enough to maintain it. Then, from the far darkness, I hear it. A distant, rhythmic drip, 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 like droplets striking jade. We press further. Torchlight spills forward in trembling waves, painting the walls with erratic shadows. Serpent carvings spiral endlessly through the narrow corridor, winding like guardians of the underworld. Their stone scales shimmer with a faint green sheen. mineral deposits glowing dimly where moisture touches them. As I move deeper, the imagery changes. The serpents begin wrapping around human figures, warriors with spears, dancers with flowing scarves, and then prisoners with terror carved into their stone faces. Each figure is frozen mid-breath, as if trying to scream through centuries of silence. "Someone carved these in fear," I mutter, and fear always leaves clues. A loose stone catches my eye. I kneel, pry it open carefully. Inside, a fragile parchment sealed in a clay tube. The ink is faded, but the script, Old Khmer, is still legible. Dara reads it with trembling breath. "Walk as the serpent walks, or be swallowed by its jaws." A warning, or instructions. The corridor tightens into a claustrophobic passage, barely wide enough for my shoulders. Roots droop from above, dripping water that trails down like veins, leaking blood. My boots splash into a shallow pool. Then, click. A sound so faint it's almost imaginary, yet unmistakable. The walls shudder. Before I can react, 2 stone slabs shoot inward with terrifying speed. They're carved with fangs, jaws designed to crush anything inside. I throw myself forward. The camera scrapes stone. Mud bursts across the lens. The slabs slam together behind me with a thunderous thud, sending dust exploding into the corridor. My heartbeat roars louder than the jungle outside. I didn't come this far to be crushed by a pair of stone teeth. I breathe, wiping sweat from my jaw. A soft glow appears ahead. Aquatic green, sickly, alive. When I step inside, my breath catches. The chamber walls are tiled with solid jade, each piece cut and fitted with impossible precision. Together they form a colossal serpent, twisting upward toward the ceiling, its eyes hollow and dark. At the center, atop a circular platform surrounded by a shallow pool, rests a cracked bronze chest. Despite the centuries, its edges are sharp and clean, almost modern in craftsmanship. Then something moves in the water. Not fish, not debris. Something metallic. Long, thin silver shapes drift beneath the surface. Silent, guided, deliberate. "It wasn't water," I whisper. "It was a warning." I toss a pebble into the pool. Instantly, the silver streaks converge, spinning like a miniature cyclone. The pebble is shredded into dust. An underwater blade trap. Ancient, and still functioning flawlessly. The warning from earlier returns. Walk as the serpent walks. I study the jade mural again. The carved serpent loops in an S shape. The path is hidden in the tile pattern, raised stones shaped like scales. I step onto the first one. It wobbles, holds. Slowly, breath by breath, I follow the serpentine route. The metallic blades hum beneath the water, slicing through the current. One misstep, one tremor, and they'll carve through flesh just as easily. Minutes feel like hours. But finally, I step onto the central platform. Up close, the bronze chest is heavier than expected. Its surface is covered in ornate carvings, elephants, lotus blossoms, and a royal crest I've never seen in any Khmer record. I lift the lid carefully. Inside, old ingots stamped with the Khmer seal, rage sized for royalty, emonial daggers with decorated hilts, a lined scroll preserved in beeswax, untouched by time. But at the very bottom, beneath the treasures, I find something impossible. A small obsidian medallion, carved with the same serpent swallowing the sun, the exact symbol from the map of Khmer's couriers. My throat tightens. This symbol again, I whisper. Egypt, Cambodia, 2 cultures with no contact, yet the same mark. Who were these couriers really serving? A global network, a forgotten alliance, a hidden dynasty operating in the shadows of empires. I slip the medallion into my pocket. That's when the chamber trembles. A grinding roar echoes through the corridor behind me. Water bursts from vents in the upper walls. Thick, violent, muddy torrents. The blade pool churns like a living thing. I sling the bronze chest over my shoulder. It's too heavy, nearly unbearable. But the scroll alone could rewrite everything we know about Angkor's history. The exit is already flooding, so I do the only thing I can. I follow the serpent's path backward, but now the stones are slippery, invisible under rising water. My torch sputters, light flickering off churning metal. The chamber darkens into a green-black void. By the time I reach the entrance corridor, the water is up to my chest. Dara's voice echoes from above. A rope drops through a narrow ventilation shaft carved with Apsara dancers. The shaft is barely human-sized. "Come on!" I gasp. "Not like this! Not now!" I shove the chest upward with everything I have, skin tearing against rough stone. Then I climb after it, hands shaking, muscles screaming. Below me, the chamber collapses in a roar. Jade tiles cracking apart, the blade mechanisms exploding into a violent whirlpool. But I drag myself through the shaft and collapse onto warm earth. Sunlight floods my eyes. Humid air fills my lungs. Dragonflies buzz overhead. My hands tremble uncontrollably. Dara stares at the chest, pale and wide-eyed. "You survived Priya clock," he whispers. "No one ever has." I sit up slowly, pull the obsidian medallion from my pocket, and stare at its dark surface. "I thought I came here chasing treasure," I say quietly. "But this changes everything." Two civilizations with no known contact, Egypt and Cambodia, united by the same symbol. If this medallion is authentic, there's a third site, I say. A place more important than anything the couriers guarded before. I pack the chest. I tighten my boots. I lift the camera once more. And that's where I'm going next.